Hi everyone, thanks for coming back for part 3. Here's a table that I just did this morning. It wasn't in the original ones I had done. I just did this one based on the video that I just told you about earlier that I saw by Bold Soldier. There's another one that was done by Arthur Prudent as well, which was about Donald Trump shaking hands with Netanyahu and about the peace deal or the two-state solution that they're talking about. And so I tried putting in these terms over here, which are Obama, Mark, Beast, part, land, Israel. And then I couldn't get Trump to come up, but his first and middle name come up. You see the words Don and John come up. But also in the text, it talks about 3 kings. And I'm not sure who the 3 kings would be, but this is also coming up in Kings chapter 3. And so I just thought I would try to put these names in. Of course, the king of Babylon is made reference to in the text. Well, it's actually the Moabites that are the enemy in this case. So that the Moabites and the king of Moab would be making reference to the Antichrist in this scenario. And then you have the king of Israel, which would be Benjamin Netanyahu. And so I don't know who the 3rd king would be, but these are the names that come up. I don't know if it has anything to do with Donald Trump, but his first and middle name come up, and you see Don comes up in the yellow with the letters D, O, N, and then John comes up in the green with the letters J, O, H, N, and then you have the word part coming up in the bluish purple with the letters P, A, R, T, and then land comes up and it shares the L in Israel. It actually says Israel but it's using the L in Israel to make the word land. And then the word part is going right through that, like it's parting the land of Israel. And then right next to that you have Jehoshaphat, which is the whole reason for the Battle of Armageddon, as you can see here, where it says, I will gather all nations and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat. And the reason is because they parted God's land. As you can see here, it says, I will also gather all nations and bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And then in the table, you see the word part going right through where it says land and Israel. It's going right through that in the bluish purple. And then right next to that you have Jehoshaphat. And then going through that you also have the word Don, which may or may not be referring to Donald Trump. And then John would be his middle name, and that's going through the word Jehoshaphat as well. And then this is another one I tried this morning. I couldn't get the word peace to come up in the table, but Iran deal comes up, and that's pretty consistent. That almost always comes up in most of the tables, but you can see that coming up here. It's going right through Obama and bride. All these words are meshed together, but you see the word deal in the bluish purple with the letters D, E, A, L, and then Iran goes through that in the lavender with the letters I, R, A, N. And of course that's where you have bride and Obama as well. Okay, and the next one I had added the terms great city. You can see that here, which would be Babylon. Babylon is referred to as a great city. And so you see the word great comes up in ELS form with the letters G, R, E, A, T, and then city comes up in the burgundy with the letters C, I, T, Y. It's right next to USSA right here. And I just added the word tire just to see where that comes up in relation to that. And you see it coming up here in the yellow. It's going right through the word great and right where it says thy mother. Okay, I'll go ahead and go on to the next one. And in this one, I added the words star and fall. And you can see the word fall over here in the burgundy with the letters F, A, L, L. And you see the word star coming up in the green with the letters S, T, A, R. So it's meshed in with the word fall. And then you have the word morning over here, which Satan is described as the morning star, which gets cast out of heaven. But then the true morning star, of course, is Jesus. Jesus is the bright and morning star. And it looks like that's all the terms that I have in that one. So I'll go ahead to the next table. This one's coming up in Mark 11, and this was the second match for Obama and bride. You just put those two terms in. But in this one, I added the terms headshot, dead rise. And the reason I did that is because I noticed that Mark 11 is actually one of the 13 tables that come up when you put in Obama third term and headshot. So I'm not sure what the headshot may or may not have to do with that, but it comes up in the tables, and you see the word shot over here in the lavender with the letters S, H, O, T, and then you have the word head coming up in the lavender with the letters H, E, A, D, and then you have the word dead coming up in the blue with the letters D, E, A, D, and then rise goes right through that with in the green with the letters R, I, S, E. In this one, I added the words etch, hand, and forehead. And as I said, etch is another word for mark. And that's coming up in the green over here at an angle with the letters E, T, C, H. And then you have for over here in the dark green. You have head coming up in the lavender over here. And then you have hand coming up in the yellow with the letters H, A, and D. Okay, in this next one I added the word Jesus because, as I said earlier, this is coming up in Mark 11, and this is actually talking about when Jesus rode in on a donkey and they were praising him, saying, Hosanna, blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord. And so this is actually referring to the second coming as well as the first coming. And I do believe it has to do with DNA, which I could try to explain that probably in another video since we probably won't have time in this video. But that's why I added the word Jesus, because the bride in this instance could also be referring to Jesus, and that comes up in the plain text. And then I also noticed the word cast, where it says they cast their garments. And so I tried putting in Satan, but that didn't come up. But the word demon comes up in ELS form, and you see that in the blue with the letters D, E, M, O, N. And then cast comes up in the plain text in the green. And then Eden, which is the word in the Hebrew for heaven, comes up in the yellow over here with the letters E, D, E, N, and it's sharing the D in demon. Of course, the demons and Satan will be cast from Eden. Okay, and this one I added the terms high holy day, which would be a Sabbath, and that comes up. You see the word high comes up in the yellow over here, and then holy comes up here in the green with the letters H, O, L, Y. It's right next to the word temple. And then day comes up here in the burgundy with the letters D, A, Y. And in this one I added the word wed, which is short for wedding. Then I put in 3 days, sun, moon, red, and those came up. You see the word moon coming up here in the green with the letters M, O, O, N, and red crosses right through that, going straight up and down with the letters R, E, D, and then you also have the word sun, and it looks like it's using this S over here in Jesus for the word son, the letters S, U, N, and of course Jesus is described as the Son of Righteousness, which comes with healing in his wings. And I'll go ahead and read that scripture. It's in Malachi 4:2, where it says, "But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and ye shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stall." So Jesus is described as the Son, and then he comes up in this table. The word Son comes up using the S in Jesus. And it looks like that's all the terms that came up in this table. And since I have a little bit of time, I just want to quickly explain why I believe this has to do with the restoration of the temple. If you recall in Genesis 49:11, which was verse 11 over here, it talked about, it said, binding his foal or donkey unto the vine and his ass's colt unto the choice vine. He washed his garments in wine and his clothes in the blood of grapes. And I had explained how this had to do with DNA. It was in this video over here, Shiloh Prophecy Reassessment Part 3, where I explained how that had to do with the restoration of the DNA. And so this is coming up in Mark 11, where Jesus is riding in on a donkey. So again, you have the number 11 here, and they're laying down palm branches. And the palm tree represents the bride, as you can see here in the Song of Solomon's. The bride is depicted as a palm tree. And then you see that Solomon's temple was decorated with palm trees and cherubim. And then here in this in the millennial temple in Ezekiel 41, it says, "And it was made with cherubims and palm trees, so that a palm tree was between a cherub, and every cherub had 2 faces, so that the face of a man was toward the palm tree on one side, and the face of a young lion toward the palm tree on the other side." And of course, Jesus is described as a young lion in Genesis 49:10, where it says, "The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be." And so the millennial temple is going to be decorated with palm trees, and in between each palm tree there's going to be a young lion and the face of a man on either side of the palm trees. So this is a representation of Jesus and the bride in the millennial temple. And I'm about out of time, so I'll have to continue, or actually that's all I have for this video. So I just want to thank you for watching, and God bless you all.